Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the September 6th, 2017 full moon in Pisces. And for those of you out there that don't know what the full moon in astrology is in general, I'm going to explain that first before I get into the specifics regarding this particular full moon. Anyway. Well, a full moon in astrology can be when emotions reach a culmination. This could be about a very uninhibited, unrestrained emotional expression. This could be very powerful emotions unleashed. This could be something where you've had something suppressed and held back for a good amount of time and you finally let it out. It's basically maybe enough is enough, and you actually become full with something or some situation or what have you. It could be a point where something reaches a culmination or ending. In many cases, you may have where you have the new moon in a sign can reflect some kind of beginning, and it could often culminate or end when you have the full moon. And as far as, the full moon goes, you also, it could also be a very strong revelation or some disclosure of something. It could be an unveiling or some revelation of something. And in terms of the full moon, in general, regardless of what sign it is, and of course, the zodiac sign Cancer can be very sensitive to it, as they are generally going to be sensitive to moon phases and transits of the moon in signs. So anyway, as far as this moon, full moon in Pisces goes, though, well, this could be something where you might have something Pisces related coming to an end. It could be perhaps something that culminates or ends, like something connected with the metaphysical, the spiritual, something imaginative. Anything Pisces related. Could even be some kind of something connected with chemistry or oceanography, maybe even photography. If you're somebody that's a magician, has finally completed maybe their writings of new magic acts or tricks or what have you. This could be, really, this could be very strong and powerful emotions. Because, especially being in a water sign and being in Pisces, of course, Pisces is a sign where their emotions can be all encompassing, and that could be a vast understatement. And it's also, it's important to look at the house that you're having this transit in, as this could impact the delineation of this for you. And really, in my case, I'm going to have it in my 11th house. Mine will fall in my 11th house of friends, aspirations, and goals. And I'm thinking for me, perhaps it could be a revelation of a friend that may have some drug or alcohol addiction, or even some deceptive issue, somebody that maybe I thought was my friend, but it could be somebody that's very duplicitous and just maybe put on their little facade that they're my friend, and it could be revealed that they are, that they were just, somebody may have just been deceiving me at this time. And also, it could be a self-revelation for me, perhaps being in the 11th house of unrealistic goals and aspirations, perhaps. Now, also for me, the fact that we had that the full moon and the solar eclipse in Leo, what started on that day on August 21st, 2017, perhaps with this gregarious energy of Leo in my 5th house of fun, amusement, and enjoyment, may culminate with the September 6, 2017 full moon in Pisces. And to me, it could represent perhaps more extroversion connected with things of amusement, may lead to perhaps more spiritual, metaphysical, compassionate friends and acquaintances. And it could also, looking at this, it's also important to look at and see if any, this full moon in your chart makes any aspects to your points in your natal chart, whether there might be planets or perhaps the MC or the ascendant even. And see, for me, it's going to make a square. This full moon in Pisces is going to make a square to my first house Gemini moon. And I stated before that this could very well be a revelation or unveiling regarding a friend that might have some kind of deceptive or a deceptive issue, or perhaps an alcoholic or drug problem. Now, and with this, the fact that it's going to make a square to my Gemini moon, well, the square itself can suggest difficulty in conveying emotions, feelings associated with this revelation, perhaps. And when you have Pisces and Gemini involved, well, these emotions can be downright chaotic, and perhaps with Gemini, a manifold of them or a multitude of these emotions. At the same time, with the square, these emotions might be very hard to actually express, but they could very well indeed be there. Now, also look and see where the aspect, I mean, in terms of electionally, what is the Pisces moon, full moon Pisces going to hit? I mean, we know, of course, it's going to oppose the sun, but I think what's an interesting aspect this makes is the fact that you're going to have the Pisces moon is going to make a conjunction to retrograde Neptune, and this can make emotions perhaps even more nebulous, chaotic, and convoluted on this day. And you might see a number of people going back to drugs or alcohol or some chemical addiction as an emotional need. This could be, and keep in mind, I mean, too, that I mean, for everybody, of course, this could be different. I'm talking about, I mean, before I told you about about it being having the moon, I was just talking about the moon being in conjunction with Neptune, of course, and it's important to look at the house for yourself as well. I talked about where I had this aspect and not this aspect, this full moon taking place in my 11th house. But I mean, if somebody you might see someone has it in their 8th house. It could be the completion if somebody's like, say, they're in chemistry or they're working in some field that involves chemicals. It could be some kind of deep research project involving chemicals. Researching chemicals might come to a conclusion at this point in time. And I think too, also, like, let's say if this hits the 3rd house in somebody's chart, for example, I mean, you're talking about the sign of Pisces, and then you have this Neptune, it'll be in conjunction with Neptune. Let's say that the Neptune and Moon conjunction falls in your 3rd house of transportation. Be especially careful while driving during this time, because the emotions, even for you, might be very chaotic and very confused during this time. And you also have, I mean, Pisces is over alcohol and it's over drugs, and there could be danger, I mean, of encountering drunk drivers, or at the same time be very exceptionally careful if you're a drinker and you have this, say, in your 3rd house, especially of transportation, because you're having this full culmination of emotions on this day. And in Pisces, I mean, forget it. You're talking about the sign that's very super sensitive, as I stated before, sign where you're talking about all-encompassing, all-embracing emotions. So, and one last thing I wanted to get to, it's also, I mean, looking at it from a Sabian symbol standpoint or vantage point, it will be in the 13th degree of Pisces. And this could be very auspicious, perhaps, for people coming together in the event of something, some catastrophe causing major destruction to property and structures with much compassionate and benign energy. So I think that is something to look at as well, as far as this full moon in Pisces goes on September 6, 2017. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the September 6, 2017 full moon in Pisces. And Stay tuned next time, where I'm going to be continuing my transits to the natal ascendant series. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.